Hello and welcome to this SUPboarder review. Today we are reviewing the Sandbanks SUP Style Sports Touring Pro 12.6 inflatable paddleboard. Really excited to get the Sandbanks out on the water today. This board is really designed for paddling faster on the water. It's a little bit narrower than a lot of other touring boards out there, so it can cross over into that racing discipline. So able to carry gear and able to also paddle fast. Let's get it out on the water because it is a beautiful day out there this morning. Let's take a look at the specifications. The Touring Sports Pro is 12 feet 6 inches long, it's 29 inches wide and 6 inches thick, which totals 325 litres of volume. The board weight is 10.5 kilograms, which is roughly 23 pounds. The recommended pressure is between 18 and 20 psi. And the retail price is £674 with a standard paddle, but if you wanted to upgrade to a carbon paddle, it is 793 British pounds. The construction of this board is a fusion technology, which means there's an additional layer of PVC laminated to the drop stitch core. There's then a triple layer put onto the rails to create a stronger and stiffer board. So taking a look at what you get in the Sandbanks SUP style package, opening up the bag, in the front pocket we have our pump. We also get a 3-piece paddle, a fin, a leash, owner's manual, and of course our board. Also in the package is a little repair kit, and you get this great bag as well with the package. Now the bag is a really well built bag. We have some nice comfortable shoulder straps, a little bit of padding as well on the back of the bag. We have some wheels as well for ease of transport if you were carrying it longer distances. The zips are really heavy duty on this bag, and it almost opens up fully to be able to slide that board into. I really like the addition of the front pocket as well, so you can store all the accessories in there too. So before we start the inflation process, looking at the pump you get with the package, this is a Bravo Super Pump double action. You have an inflate point and also a deflate point on the pump. Double action means you can flick this lever here to the double action, which means you're pumping on the upstroke and on the downstroke. Then once you get to that higher pressure of PSI, you flip the little lever back over to the single action. So it's a little bit easier to lift, but you're pumping up on that downstroke. Let's get this board inflated and set up. So you get a fiberglass paddle with a nylon blade. It's quite a fairly lightweight paddle for this package. A few other brands do have heavier paddles, so it's nice to see Sandbanks style pushing a lighter paddle with it. You can upgrade this paddle as well to a carbon paddle for that extra price point. Let's put this paddle together. You do get a branded up coiled ankle leash with this package. So let's connect that to the board ready to hit the water. Having a look at the fin box from Sandbanks SUP style. Now, really great fin box. This is a folding fin box. You can see there's a gap in the middle here. So when you do roll up the board, it actually rolls around the board, so it fits into that bag a lot easier. The fin you get with it, it is the slide-in, click-in system. So no tools required. You slide in the front part into the fin, line up the back part here with that, click it in, and then you push it back so it goes all the way back to the back of the box and it's locked in. Now the board's pumped up, let's take a look at the fittings you get on it. There's quite a few features on this board. Up the front here we have a nice bungee storage system, so you're able to carry lots of gear. Moving back from that, we have the center carry handle on the board as well. It's nicely weighted. It's quite a nice size carry handle as well, so it's not too big and bulky. Deck pad is a diamond groove deck pad. In between it's got some grip as well, and it's quite a raised diamond pad as well. As we move back, you can see that the deck pad actually doesn't have a kicker at the back. I think that's okay on a board like this, especially if you are doing some fast paddling, some fast touring. You can see on top of that deck pad at the back here, we do have another bungee system, so lots of storage capacity on this board. Back from that, we have our valve point where we inflate and deflate the board, and we also have a handle at the back as well, so you're able to maneuver the board when it is in shallow water. Especially when you've got gear on there, it's nice that you can grab something in the back and be able to move the board around. Let's flip it over. We have our fin, which was spoken about, single center fin. And if we come right to the front of the board, we also have a towing D-ring right at the nose of the board. Stepping away from the water for a second and checking our deflection test on this Sandbanks Sports Touring Pro. Now this board deflected at 11 millimeters. We placed the board on a gap of 1.5 meters. We get a 75 kilogram weight and we place it on top of the board to see how far that board bends. The less the board bends, the more performance it will have on the water. And at 11 millimeters, this board fared pretty well. So we're out on the water, and before we get into talking about how the board feels, I really just wanted to highlight some of the things that Sandbanks Style are doing in their business, but also just that benefit you as a purchaser of one of these boards. Now, these boards do come with a 5-year warranty. Now, that is definitely the longest warranty in the industry. There are a couple of other brands that do 5 years as well, but it is really fantastic to see that Sandbanks do stand behind their product, so you know you're buying something that's going to last for quite a long time. Sandbanks Style also have great environmental credibility. All their boards come wrapped in paper or cardboard or recyclable materials, and they're also giving back to environmental charities as well. So you are supporting some great initiatives that Sandbanks Style have partnered with. So they are a UK-based company, family-owned business in the south of England, and they're all just about getting you out on the water, enjoying it, and having lots of fun, making sure that you're on the best gear to do it as well. So stability wise, the board actually feels a little bit rolly. It feels really twitchy and quite sensitive to your movements when you are paddling. So if you do favor one side with your weight when you paddle, you really notice the board rocking quite a lot. But I think that's quite normal and quite a good thing to have from a narrower touring / kind of racing style board. I think it's because it's narrower and it's 6 inches, you're quite high above the water, which does make it feel a little bit less stable. We've mentioned this in a few other videos, but thickness does play a big part in your stability. If you are lower to the water on a thinner board, you are going to have more stability because you have a lower center of gravity. So with that narrowness and that 6 inches of thickness high above the water, you do notice a bit of roll, but it's not that noticeable if you are using this board to be able to paddle fast. So it's still going to paddle fast, and that's what we really notice about it too. It's just the glide. You get some great glide on this board. I just think with that narrower outline again, you're getting really good tracking, some good speed when you do put in some stronger paddle strokes, and especially I'm carrying some gear on this board as well, so it's a little bit heavier than it is with just my body weight, which is 85 kilograms. The one thing I will say that does hinder the glide and that speed is just that little upturn rocker at the nose. Now on Sandbanks Style website, on the product page for this board, it does say that that upturn is good for waves. But are you going to be using this board in waves? Probably not. However, if you do have some bumps when you are out paddling, if you're in some choppier conditions or messy water states, that upturn nose is quite nice to have, just so it can get over the bumps and you're not being kind of taken and pushed by those choppier waters if you have that nose that sits flat in the water, but you are lacking that glide and speed because of the upturned nose is pushing water as you are paddling. So maneuverability wise and doing step back turns, you can see I was a little bit tentative and a little bit hesitant in doing that just because it does have that little bit of rock from side to side. Now it is quite easy when you do step back there, and I am carrying gear at the front as well, like I've said before, so it is going to add that little bit of swing weight to the front, but it still felt like it was tippy, and especially walking back up to that middle position on the board where you do stand, if you're not stepping in the middle of the board or on that center line, it can get a little bit rocky, so just do keep that in mind. So looking at the outline shape, we have quite a pulled in nose and also quite a pulled in tail. So you're getting a narrower outline from the nose to the tail. It is only 29 inches wide, so it doesn't have an overly wide shape to it, which does enhance its speed through the water. So what are some of the negatives to this board then? Well, we spoke a little bit about them during the review, but definitely just that upturn at the nose does sacrifice that glide and that speed just a little bit. So it'd be nice if the rocker line was a little bit flatter. That way when you are in these calmer conditions, you're going to get a much faster board But then when you do get those bumps, and if you were paddling this board in some choppier conditions, then with that little nose lift, it goes up and over the bumps. Might help you, but to be honest, when you're racing or when you're touring, you're not really paddling through a lot of bumps. And if you are, you might want to be on a wider board as well, just for a bit more stability. Aesthetically, the board looks quite nice. I think the bungees could be a white color just to match in with the board a little bit more, just to hide it. Especially the fixing points for the bungee. I think they could definitely be a different color just to match the aesthetics a little bit. That black is really quite heavy on the eye. Stability as well, I do notice it. I'm 85 kilograms, and it's definitely one of those kind of upper weight limits for this board, and I'll speak about that with who this board's going to suit. But if you were over that 85-90 kilograms, then it might be wise to maybe go for something a little bit wider if you are thinking about getting a touring/racing board. Moving into the value for money, and I do feel like you're getting good value for money with this board. It's over that 600 British pound price point, but you're paying for a well-constructed board. You are getting a 5-year warranty. It goes fast through the water. You're able to store lots of gear as well. And if you are looking for that faster board for touring, for maybe a little bit of racing as well, then it's really going to suit you, and you're getting great value for money in that. You can upgrade that paddle as well in the package, and it just retails for over 700 British pounds. And I think that's really worthwhile to get the carbon paddle if you are thinking of paddling longer or paddling further on this board. It's going to be easier on your shoulders, going to prevent injury as well. So who is this board really going to suit? Well, I definitely feel like it's suited to the more lighter weight, to that kind of mid-weight range. Say, I really think this board would shine in that 70 to 90 kilogram rider weight. And if you have a little bit of experience before paddling, if you are a beginner, I definitely look for something a bit wider in the Sandbanks SUP style range, just because of that stability that I have mentioned before. It is going to be a little bit tippy if you're getting on it as a beginner. However, if you have that experience, you're not going to be noticing it too much, and you're going to be able to get that faster board through the water and a little bit of more sensitive feel. So when you do those step back turns, or when you are trying to maneuver the board, it's going to come around a little bit easier. Thank you for tuning in to this SUPboarder review of the Sandbanks SUP Style Touring Sports Pro. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Please do leave some comments below. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them. Thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you on another SUPboarder review really soon.